You build a RAG system. You embed your docs. You wire up the search. Then a user types, "How do I set up auth?" and your system returns the billing FAQ. Not because your embeddings are bad, because the question is too vague. Auth could mean OAuth tokens, session management, API keys, or SSO configuration. Your vector database doesn't know which one the user means, so it guesses, and it guesses wrong. This is the most common failure in production RAG. The user's question doesn't match how your documents describe the same concept. Query translation fixes this. Instead of searching with the vague question directly, you transform it first into queries that actually match your stored content. Multi-query is the single most effective query translation technique. Here is how it works. A user asks, "How do I set up auth?" The LLM takes that vague question and rewrites it into 3 specific versions. Version 1. What authentication protocols does the API support, such as OAuth 2 or API keys? Version 2. How do users log in and receive session tokens? Version 3. What is the step-by-step process for configuring SSO with a third-party identity provider? Each version targets a different aspect of authentication, and each one retrieves different documents. Version 1 pulls the API reference. Version 2 pulls the login flow guide. Version 3 pulls the SSO setup walkthrough. You merge all 3 result sets, deduplicate any overlapping chunks. Now you have comprehensive coverage that no single query could have achieved. The vague question retrieved 1 wrong document. The 3 specific queries retrieved exactly the right 3. Let's see the actual difference. Without query translation, you search with, "How do I set up auth?" The vector database returns your billing FAQ at 0.72 similarity, the pricing page at 0.68, and the general overview at 0.65. None of these are what the user needs. Now with multi-query, the same question generates 3 targeted searches. The combined results include the OAuth setup guide at 0.94, the session management docs at 0.91, and the SSO configuration walkthrough at 0.89. 3 relevant documents instead of 0. The retrieval quality jumps from useless to production ready. That is why multi-query should be your default query translation strategy. It is simple to implement, works with any LLM, and dramatically improves retrieval for ambiguous questions. If you want to learn how to do this yourself, I run free live sessions every Friday at noon Eastern. Scan the QR code on screen to join. Would love to see you there. HyDE flips the approach. Instead of rewriting the question, you generate a fake answer. The user asks, "How do I set up auth?" The LLM writes a hypothetical document, something like, "To configure authentication, first register your application in the OAuth dashboard, then generate client credentials, and implement the token exchange flow." That hypothetical answer is not real, but it sounds like your actual documentation. You embed that fake answer and search for real documents with similar embeddings. The intuition is simple. A hypothetical answer is closer in embedding space to the real answer than the original vague question was. HyDE works best when your documents follow consistent formatting. If your docs are messy, the hypothetical answer might not match any real document style. Some questions are not vague. They are complex. Compare the authentication options and recommend the best one for a multi-tenant SaaS app. That is actually 3 questions. What authentication options exist? What are the trade-offs of each? Which one fits a multi-tenant architecture? Decomposition breaks the complex question into sub-questions. Each sub-question gets answered independently. Then the results get combined into a final answer. Step-back prompting takes the opposite approach. Instead of breaking down, it zooms out. "How do I set up auth?" becomes, "What are the general principles of web application authentication?" The broader question retrieves foundational context that helps the LLM reason about the specific question. Both techniques handle edge cases that multi-query misses. Use decomposition for complex multi-part questions. Use step back when the user needs background context to get a good answer. Here is how to decide which technique to use. Start with multi-query as your default. It handles the most common case, vague questions, and it is the simplest to implement. If your documents have consistent formatting and your users ask short questions, add HyDE. The hypothetical answer approach works well with clean, structured docs. For applications where users ask complex multi-part questions, add decomposition. Break the question down, answer each part, combine the results. And when users need deep background context to get a useful answer, use step-back prompting. In practice, most production systems start with multi-query and only add the others when they see specific failure patterns. Start simple. Measure what fails. Add complexity only where it helps. That's the full picture. If you want to go deeper, join my free live session this Friday at noon Eastern on Maven. I walk through this hands-on, answer questions, and show you how to build it yourself. Scan the QR code to join.